Thank you for listening to Podcast West Seattle Pandemic Diaries, Volume 9. My name is Andrew. Each week we talk with somebody in the neighborhood about how the pandemic has affected them.
My name's Ruby. I am a street musician, aka a busker.
We also check in with how our family of four is handling quarantine life.
Happy Wednesday!
This is Podcast West Seattle Pandemic Diaries. As I record this, it has been 62 days since our family began to quarantine. There are four of us in the house, my wife Elizabeth and the two kids. Felix is 5 and Alice is 2. We also visit Grandma and Grandpa's condo, and that's it. This week we crossed the 2 months in quarantine mark. We also marked another holiday on Sunday with Mother's Day.
This was the first Mother's Day that I can remember that I got to spend with our daughter and her husband and our grandchildren, and it was wonderful.
Happy Wednesday! And then
I got a beautiful bouquet and 2 bags of potato chips.
chips, cards, and pictures.
As the days wear on and we all feel the effects of isolation more and more, one of the nice and most consistent outlets has been music. One way to break out of the monotony that almost always works is a dance party.
What do we do now?
Dance party? What do you want to dance to, Felix? Maybe doing a Not It CD?
How about we dance to the first song?
The Not It's are one of our house's favorite bands right now. They play indie rock for kids. It was also the last live performance the kids saw before the virus.
I was at my school. Not Hollow Heights, but, you know.
Fauntleroy Children's Center. Alice, did you dance to the Not It's at the Fauntleroy School?
Yes, I did. Ellen's sister was there and Alice kept pushing her over.
You can find more from the Not It's by visiting their website, wearethenotits.com. There's a hyphen between not and its, so that website is wearethenot-its.com. Unfortunately, all upcoming Not It shows have been canceled for obvious reasons.
Gotta popsicle frozen.
And that's another one of the cruel ironies of the pandemic. As important as music is right now, musicians cannot safely get into the same room to perform, and they certainly cannot perform in a room full of spectators. But I found one West Seattle musician who is still going out and performing.
My name's Ruby. I am a street musician, aka a busker.
You have a second to check about the oil crisis.
I like to say that I kind of add a punk side to everything, and then I take the punk songs that I listen to and I kind of guess I play them a little bit more on the poppier side too, so it's kind of a mix of those. So songs you're familiar with, songs you're definitely not familiar with, classics, and then I play originals as well. A normal day for me was usually getting to the California Junction around dinner time, after 5. So it's always very busy. I was saying hello to people constantly. It felt like it was kind of like going to like a party almost, right? Like seeing everybody and you're excited to see each other. Sometimes I couldn't even make it through a song like on a Friday night. I'd see so many people I felt like I knew. So it was definitely a live area. Before the virus, I definitely pretty much only played at the breezeway in the Junction. Once the virus started to hit, when people started to evaporate, it was like I had to try and find other spots. When things started to accelerate here, with more and more cases breaking out, I did see less and less people coming out, a lot more crossing the street if you were out walking around. And then the day that the bars were, told not to open, which was kind of like ground zero, I'd like to say, it was intense. Yeah, it was like overnight, just completely different place. zombie apocalypse. They said, all right, stay at home. So I did take a solid week off before deciding to go back out. I'm still going out because not only do I kind of, live day to day by the cash, but also because seeing stories in Italy of neighbors coming out to their balconies and singing and things like that. And I mean, we would be silly to deny the fact that music is a very healing thing. It also kind of brought a sense of normalcy to my life personally, still going out. Even though it broke my heart to see no one out, I did change my sign that I usually have out that says still gotta eat. That's how I've interpreted me still playing music is, I still gotta eat. So I just put that 6 feet away from me, and it's still 6 feet away is nobody's looking at you. Everybody wants to avoid looking at you because they might get sick, or get you sick or whatever, get arrested or whatever it is that people think. When I started to go back out after the stay at home, after that week that I took off, day 7 or day 6 after stay at home was probably the day that it was pouring down rain, and there was just no chance of being heard because there was just nowhere to stand that was covered. So that day was where I was playing, the saddest songs that I knew, crying. I'll admit it, I was crying, and it felt tragic to be just to be around. Usually playing music makes me feel better. This did not make me feel better.
Maybe I'll catch fire, something warm to hold me.
It was tough to see no one at all.
Hides inside my mind. All that evil shit's not hard.
And just felt what am I doing out here? This is just stupid. And I'm thinking, because I already battle with anxiety as it is, right? So I was amplified anxiety because I'm playing to myself and seeing people do the crossing the street, they'll look at me kind of what are you doing out here? You know what I mean? Like almost angry at me. There will be people that will come up and put, cash in my box or what have you. And they will not even want to look at me and they'll just walk away and I'll say thank you and they don't say anything back, and that's okay. It's odd. It's very odd. There was a woman that came and picked up her food and said, I'm really glad to see you here because it feels like there's something normal. That made me feel super oh man, okay, we're all starting to want normalcy and feel positive about seeing each other, right? Because we're not avoiding this contact. She was willing to say that, It's weird to play right now. It's weird to be in areas where people are because there's half of them maybe feel like you shouldn't be there and the other half are appreciating it, So it felt good to have that encouragement of normalcy.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
There's been many members of the community reaching out to me now. I've had cars pull over from driving on California to stop and be hey, I'm so glad I saw you. I thought about you. Here's $10. And I'm not even playing a song, right? And so these are people that say, hey, I've walked past you a million times and I've never had cash on me. And now that I know where you are, here's specifically something that I wanted to give to you, right? And so that means to me the community is still there and they actually care, and I'm not, that ambivalence isn't actually there, right? And maybe I do have people are receiving me more positively than I perceive. There's a ton more eye contact now. I grew up here in Seattle and people never made eye contact before. It was hard to get eye contact out of people. And see a lot more of that now because we kind of can't show expression otherwise. If you know the Seattle Freeze, we're always like, just don't talk to me, just keep going. I got my earphones in, head down, watching the gray ground or whatever. And not anymore. People are even across the street, hey, what's up? Eye contact at least. So I feel like maybe this 2-week period that I've seen an increase in human activity, not necessarily flocking to Alki Beach is a good idea, but I've seen an influx, but I'm not seeing any sort of bad attitude towards it. People are wearing masks when they go out, people are still maintaining their distance, but I've seen a lot of increase in people. I didn't expect as many people to be aware of the fact that we're all worldwide in this together, which was really refreshing to see, just because I guess I needed to be assured of that. And the other thing would be the art. I've seen a lot of art. I've seen a lot of artists going out and painting the wooden placard, like the wooden placards over the windows and stuff. And I love that. I've really been into seeing what pops up around neighborhoods with art and chalk stuff on the sidewalk with kids, and kids give me art that they've created. So I think that it's great to see all of this art kind of pouring out of people. That's definitely a benefit. What do you do when you end this discussion with people? In general, with your family or with your friends, like when we speak about this, like on my end, I feel like it always comes down to like, well, what can we do? And it's kind of this almost beautiful sort of sadness, right? It's like a beautiful sort of sadness and like an ending to a chapter, because life will be different now. That's for sure. So it's like kind of like a silent ending, in a way.
Thank you, Ruby. You can find more of Ruby's music on SoundCloud as Self-Doubt, or on Instagram as _self-doubt with a 0 for the O, and on YouTube by searching West Seattle Busker. That is all for this episode of Podcast West Seattle Pandemic Diaries. We will be back next week with another update and another guest. In the meantime, make sure that you have subscribed to the podcast, spread the word to others who might be interested, and let us know what you think of the podcast on Facebook at Podcast West Seattle. Thank you for listening. Until next week, stay home and stay healthy.